Hello, welcome back to Core Finance. I'm Matt Brown. I'm joined by Eddie Tofpik, and we're going to be looking at three more exotic currencies, not your major pairs, but always of interest. We're starting off with the rand against the dollar.
It's
onwards and upwards on this.
Onwards and upwards. This Andrews Pitchfork, which I've drawn there from September through to October, has been brilliant. I mean, it pointed out the top of the market in late last week. It was brilliant. It just went there, bounced, smashed up, hit the concrete barrier and came back down again. It then held a little bit on the middle time, but now it's trying below it. Please bear in mind the support is around 1370.90. That's underneath. That's the lower time. So 1370.90, 1445.5. That's today. The levels, but they're dynamic. They're moving up each day. So consequently, bear that in mind. Unless we get some significant closes down below sort of 1350, then this is still ascending at the moment. All the moving averages are pointing higher. They're now starting to sort of spread out because we're getting a bit of a trend, whereas since April we've really just gone sideways. It's not very, very much. The key one to bear in mind in the short term is 1445.5. That's the Fibonacci level from March 16, March 17. We went above it. We closed once, and then we went straight back down, and that was coincident with that big move down. So that's the one to watch as to when the timing of the next generation of the move higher is going to be. If that fails, then you've got to be looking down to that lower area around about the 1371 area. If that goes, then we're back down, testing down to the 1330s.
Understood. Should I be putting an order to open maybe down at the 1370?
You may think so. I, of course, could not comment. I would not be able to give you advice on that. But on the market commentary side, I'd say that there is a potential for it to come a little bit lower before potentially going further higher. But watch the support. It's very, very keen.
Fantastic. Moving on to the Aussie.
Moving sideways, moving down, we've got this bearish double top formation which we've formed over the whole of the summer, and we've started to come down. I thought, okay, that's going to be a nice move down to say 75, 70, which is where the X is marked, which is the target for the double top, and it's doing that gradually. But last week, this week, we've been below the long moving average. We've had multiple closes, but today we've gone back above it. We're moving back up to the resistance at 77.25. Is this just a one-day spike? If we have two, then maybe we're going to be testing the upside around about the 70 or 77.75 level. And that is showing me that this move down is starting to run out a little bit of steam. It's still neutral. Well, it's actually bearish, neutral to bearish at the moment, mildly bearish. But why is this little pattern that we've seen over the last few days, why is that pushing that back up again? Could it be that this whole area around 76.30, which is that big thick mess of lines there, is strong enough to overcome the pressure from September? Could it be that's even strong enough to overcome consecutive closes under long moving average? If that's the case, then we are going to be trying the top side of that channel line, and we're going to be moving up to about 78.75 and test that 50% Fibonacci level there.
Understood. And finally, we're going to look at the Brazilian.
Well, this is an interesting one because I think in many ways it's reminiscent of the euro in reverse, obviously, because it's dollar Brazil rather than Brazil euro. It's reverse head and shoulders.
Yes.
We've reached the first target level, which is around about the 327 area. The next one is 332. A little bit of hesitation now because we're coming towards the end of that particular pattern where we're not really... We've done a lot very, very quickly. I would have looked forward to going to move to, say, 327, the single X target, come back down for support around the 319 level to the neckline, and then have an attempt higher. But we've not really done that. We've just sort of started to get really wide ranges, which is an indication of possible disbursement of some of the people who've been long of this market from when it started forming the head and the second shoulder. So it could be that there's now people coming out. There's a potential for a little bit of a double top there ahead of X1. So it may not reach X1. It still could come down to 318.5 and then bounce up, and that would be fine. There would be no problem with that at all. But it looks as if we're starting to tire of this particular acceleration on the upside.
Understood. May have run out of steam. And any other currencies or situations globally that investors should be looking at?
I didn't look at this specifically, but the one thing to watch out for, I think, is in the Middle East. You have a situation with Bahrain, which has allegedly asked for funding from its GCC neighbours and Saudis, the UAE, and allegedly Kuwait as well. And the response has been, okay, but you need to do something about your balance payments.
Understood.
And or your fiscal deficit, so to speak. So, you know, sort your own house out, and then we'll look about getting you some money. So I don't exactly know what's going on. Plus, also you've got the dynamic of Qatar in there as well, which is the thing that everybody they want a unified thing against Qatar, a unified sort of front against Qatar. But the Bahrainis may be taking advantage of saying, actually, can you give us some money whilst we're doing this, and we'll be sort of united. Or it could be they're saying, well, literally, we need some cash because we're being impacted by the lower oil price, which is what everybody believes. But then everybody is, and Saudi's got their issues with the southern Yemen area, the Yemeni border, and what's going on there. That's all of that money's going out into those areas. The oil price going higher. Last I've heard is that the talk will be extended beyond the November date, the end of November, so for the agreement. If that's the case and price does carry on higher, then obviously that will naturally help itself. But there are other factors still going on in there. But it's one to watch out. The Gulf region seems to be sort of like having a little bit of an issue at the moment.
Understood. One to keep an eye on, certainly.
Yes.
Eddie, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.